Somalia's debt relief. Who benefits? Who paid? And will it bring real independence or dependence again? Introduction. Welcome to our channel. We're exploring a topic that affects every Somali family, whether they know it or not. Somalia's debt relief program. How did Somalia, a country with fertile land, rich livestock, a long coastline, and mineral potential, become buried under billions of dollars in debt? Who exactly borrowed that money and who profited? Why are international lenders now forgiving that debt? And most importantly, does this mean Somalia is truly on a path to economic independence? Or is it just entering a new cycle of hidden dependence? Stay with us for this deep, honest journey through Somalia's debt, past and future. A story of promises, problems, and possibilities. 1. Where did Somalia's debt come from? To understand Somalia's debt, we have to go back over 60 years, to independence in 1960. At independence, Somalia was born with big dreams but limited resources. The country needed roads, schools, ports, hospitals, the basics of a modern economy. So Somalia turned to foreign lenders for help. In the 1960s and 70s, Somalia borrowed from Western countries like Italy and the UK, the Soviet Union during the socialist years, Arab countries like Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, global institutions like the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and World Bank. Loans were often easy to get because during the Cold War, both the East and West wanted Somalia on their side. For the Soviets, Somalia was a strategic ally in the Horn of Africa. They funded military bases, roads, and irrigation schemes. When Somalia fell out with the Soviets after the Ogaden War in the late 1970s, the West, especially the United States, stepped in with new loans and aid packages to pull Somalia into their sphere of influence. This geopolitical competition flooded Somalia with money, but much of it was loans, not free grants. 2. Who took the loans and how were they used? So who took this money? It was mostly the Somali government, under the leadership of Siad Barre, who ruled from 1969 until 1991. The regime borrowed billions in the name of national development, building large-scale projects like the Shabelle and Juba River irrigation systems, meant to boost agriculture, roads connecting Mogadishu to inland regions like Baidoa and the northern port of Berbera, ports and airports to open Somalia to international trade, expansion of the army and security forces as Barre's military government became increasingly authoritarian. On paper, these projects aimed to modernize Somalia and lift millions out of poverty. In reality, the system was riddled with corruption, mismanagement, and political favoritism. Money meant for development often disappeared into the pockets of powerful elites, spent on military hardware, luxury lifestyles, or used to buy political loyalty. Ordinary Somalis got some benefits. Roads were built, schools opened, but the quality and sustainability were poor. When the civil war erupted in 1991, much of the infrastructure was destroyed or abandoned. Yet the debts remained billions of dollars owed to foreign banks, governments, and institutions. 3. Why did Somalia's debt become unsustainable? By the late 1980s, Somalia was struggling to repay what it owed. Civil conflict, drought, and economic collapse drained government revenues. When Siad Barre was overthrown in 1991, Somalia fell into decades of state failure. No functioning central government, no tax system, no national budget. But the debt didn't disappear. Instead, Somalia fell into arrears. Unpaid debts kept growing with interest and penalties. By the 2000s, Somalia's total external debt stood at over $5 billion USD, a staggering burden for a country with almost no formal economy and no capacity to pay. This blocked Somalia from getting new loans for rebuilding, qualifying for large-scale development aid, accessing international markets and investments, using its natural resources fully because creditors had first claim. Somalia became stuck, poor, fragile, but still chained to old debt. 4. How did the debt relief program begin? After the collapse of the central state, Somali regions tried to rebuild on their own Puntland, Somaliland, Jubaland. But it wasn't until the federal government of Somalia was formed in the early 2010s that there was any real push to tackle the debt mountain. With the support of the IMF, World Bank, African Development Bank, and bilateral donors like the EU and Arab states. Somalia applied to join the HIPC initiative, heavily indebted poor countries, a global program to help the poorest countries get partial or full debt cancellation if they meet strict conditions. This wasn't free money. It required Somalia to set up a credible central bank, establish a national budget and tax collection system, improve governance and fight corruption, track all spending and borrowing, implement reforms to stabilize the economy and currency. After years of effort, Somalia reached the decision point. In 2020, creditors agreed Somalia could enter the debt relief pathway. By 2023-2024, Somalia hit the completion point, unlocking cancellation of about 4.5 billion USD in debt, erasing nearly 90% of its external debt. 5. The hidden risks. But debt relief is not magic. Many countries from Zambia to Mozambique got debt relief in the 2000s, but fell back into new debt crises. Why? Bad governance, unchecked borrowing, and weak institutions. Somalia must learn these lessons. New loans must build productive assets, irrigation, processing plants, ports that create real value and jobs. Transparency is vital. Corruption must be tackled head-on, and domestic revenue must grow so Somalia can stand on its own. 6. Lessons for other nations. Somalia's story is a warning and an inspiration for other nations. Debt can build nations when used wisely, but destroys them when abused. Debt must build assets, not just fund leaders' power games. Transparency, accountability, and public participation matter. And economic independence comes from within, from harnessing local resources, skills, and trust. 7. Who benefits from this debt relief? So, who actually benefits? Debt relief means Somalia no longer has to pay millions of dollars in debt service every year. Instead, that money can go to building and fixing roads, hospitals, and schools, funding basic services like healthcare and clean water, supporting job creation and small businesses, stabilizing the Somali shilling and banking sector, attracting foreign investors who were scared off by unpaid arrears for ordinary Somalis. This can mean more public services if the money is used wisely, more jobs if the economy grows, more international aid flowing in because Somalia is now clean on paper, better prospects for trade, remittances, and diaspora investments. But the real benefit depends on good governance. If corruption returns, if funds are mismanaged, the gains could vanish quickly. 8. Is this true independence or hidden dependence? Debt relief sounds like freedom, but is it really? Critics warn that the conditions Somalia agreed to under the IMF and World Bank can also limit how freely Somalia can spend its money. Somalia must stick to fiscal discipline, limit its budget deficits, and open its markets in ways that can sometimes benefit foreign investors more than local communities. Also, debt relief clears old debt, but it also opens the door for new borrowing. If the Somali government borrows recklessly again, it could fall back into a new debt trap within a decade. So debt relief is not the end of dependence, it's a chance to choose wisely. 9. What comes next for Somalia? Debt relief is a fresh start, but Somalia's future will be decided by how it invests in agriculture, livestock, fisheries, and renewable energy, whether it uses its long coastline and ports to trade regionally and globally, how well it protects its oil, gas, and mineral wealth from unfair deals, how much it empowers its youth. Nearly 70% of Somalis are under 30. If these young people get education, jobs, and security, Somalia can break the cycle of aid, dependence, and debt. At the end of the day, Somalia's future lies with its people, entrepreneurs, farmers, traders, teachers, students. The debt story is a reminder that bad governance hurts everyone, and smart leadership can rebuild nations. If Somalia's leaders stay accountable and communities stay engaged, debt relief can be a launchpad for prosperity. 10. Conclusion. Somalia's debt relief is a major milestone, proof that even after decades of conflict, progress is possible. But it's also a reminder: debt can be a tool for growth or a trap for control. Whether Somalia becomes economically independent or dependent again will come down to strong leadership, transparent governance, local ownership of natural resources, and an active, engaged Somali people. Debt relief is not freedom, It's an opportunity to build freedom. Somalia's journey from massive debt to partial freedom is one of resilience, but also a warning. Debt relief offers hope, but it's not a guarantee. For Somalis, the next chapter must be written with transparency, investment in people, and economic vision, not another cycle of borrowing and dependence. Somalia's debt relief is a second chance, a chance to break from past mistakes and chart a new path. But it's up to Somalis to decide, will this chance be seized or wasted? One thing is clear, the future belongs not to old debts, but to new ideas and the millions who dream of a better tomorrow. If you found this deep dive helpful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.